everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we turn confusing corporate documents into something you can actually understand. Today we're diving into Resideo Technology's latest report, and let's just say their financial performance might leave you feeling a bit like your smart thermostat suddenly decided to crank the heat up to 90 degrees. Before we get started, if you like having corporate reports translated into simple English, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below, where we discuss reports and investment opportunities. Resideo Technologies just put out a report called an 8K. Companies use these reports to tell investors about big news or important events. It's like a quick update, not the whole story. This one is about their first quarter earnings for 2025. In other words, how much money they made and what it cost to do that during the first 3 months of the year. The most important part of this filing is the part where they talk about how the business is doing. Let's jump right into it. We will scroll through the legal mumbo jumbo and get right to the part where they announce their first quarter earnings. Resideo released a press release with all the details about how they did in the first quarter of 2025. Press releases can sometimes be a bit like listening to a used car salesman. Everything sounds amazing. So we're going to look past the hype and see what the numbers really say. First off, their sales were about $1.6 billion. That sounds like a lot, right? But let's see if that's good or bad compared to last year. Okay, so last year in the first quarter, they sold $1.7 billion. This year, it's $1.6 billion and $6 billion. That means they sold about $100 million less this year. It's like if you were running a lemonade stand and last year you made 170. It's still good, but not as good as before. Gross profit margin shows how much money a company makes on its products or services after paying for the direct costs of making them, like materials and labor. Resideo's gross profit margin is 26.1%. This means that for every dollar of sales, they keep about 26 cents after paying for those direct costs. Last year, it was 27.5%. That means they were making more money on each sale last year. Just a little bit more, but still less this year. Selling, general, and administrative expenses are the costs a company has to pay to keep the lights on that aren't directly related to making the product. Think of things like paying the sales team, the rent for the office, and the salaries of the executives. In Resideo's case, these expenses are at $305 million. Last year, they were $302 million. Their general expenses are higher this year, meaning they are paying more to keep the business running, maybe because of inflation, or maybe because they're investing in new things. Net income is what's left over after you subtract all the expenses from all the money you made. Resideo's net income was $31 million. That's the actual profit that the company gets to keep. Last year it was $58 million. That is a big drop. So even though they sold almost the same amount as last year, they made a lot less money. Adjusted EBITDA is a way to measure a company's profit without including things like interest, taxes, depreciation, which is how things lose value over time, and amortization, which is how you spread out the cost of intangible assets. It's like looking at the core money-making ability of the company. Their adjusted EBITDA was $123 million. Last year, it was $143 million. So even using this measure that's supposed to make them look good, they still made less money. Diluted earnings per share is the amount of profit each share of the company's stock gets. It's calculated assuming that things like stock options and warrants get used, which could create more shares and spread the profit out a little thinner. In Resideo's case, the diluted earnings per share was 22 cents. Last year it was 41 cents. That's almost half as much profit per share. Investors definitely care about this number because it tells them how much of the company's profit they're getting for each share they own. Cash flow from operations is the money a company actually brings in from its regular business activities. It shows how much cash is coming in and going out from things like selling products or services. Resideo's cash flow from operations was $49 million. Last year it was $77 million, again, less money coming in this year from the normal operations of the business. Now let's see what the company thinks is going to happen for the rest of the year. This is called their outlook or guidance, and it's where they tell investors what they expect to make in the future. Resideo thinks they're going to sell between $6.5 billion and $6.75 billion for the entire year. They are expecting an adjusted EBITDA of $600 million to $640 million. That's what they think they can earn before interest, taxes, and all those other things we talked about earlier. And they expect free cash flow, which is the money they have left over after paying for everything, to be between $325 million and $375 million of the year. So they are still expected to make money, but it's important to see if they reach that guidance by the end of the year. So what's the story here? Resideo had a rough start to 2025. Sales are down, profits are down, and they're making less money on each sale. Their expenses are up. This isn't the end of the world, but it's definitely not great news. It's like they're running harder, but not getting as far. We need to see if they can turn things around in the next few quarters. And just a quick note, at the end of these reports, you always have a signature from one of the company's top executives, legally confirming that the information is correct to their knowledge. This filing was signed by Janine J. Lane, who is the Executive Vice President, General Counsel, and Corporate Secretary of Resideo. Alright, that's our breakdown of Resideo's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Are you concerned about the drop in profits, or do you think they'll bounce back? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching, see you next time.